Hey guys, hope you're all doing so well. So I was just kind of thinking about like everything that I've been through over the past year. On the 23rd of December, it was a year that I've been in a constant relapse, basically, of just like using different substances and just like covering up my life with different things and trying to fill voids that way. And it's just crazy that it's been a year, and I've just been thinking about like what a roller coaster it's been. You know, obviously it's something that I'm still dealing with and seeking help for, but it has improved from even where it first started, and certainly from like the very middle when it was at its worst. Things are kind of calming down now. I mean, to go from like addiction has really changed me as a person and made me somebody that I don't recognize anymore. I mean, I was the kid in high school that, even though I developed depression when I was 16, I still, had pretty decent grades and I guess hung out with the right crowd, whatever the fuck that means. And it's just been the total opposite of everything I represent, everything that I thought I would become, everything like that I thought I would ever do or experience. It's just been crazy, from begging on the street for money to sleeping in abandoned houses to, theft. And the list goes on and on and on. It's really, really crazy to just sit and think back over this past year. Like 2019 was absolutely a shit show for me. And that's really why I want to get my shit together in 2020. And that's another reason why, making these videos again was such a huge deal for me, because I understand that I took a 5-month leave of absence, so I understand that I'm not going to have the same amount of views and the same followers and the same, people aren't going to be paying as much attention as they were when I was consistently making videos. But for me, it's a huge deal, whether I have an audience or not, because it's such a big piece of myself that's reattaching, because these videos mean so much to me, just documenting my story, and the important things like sexual assault, mental illness, addiction, things that people can relate to, to help prevent people from feeling alone and isolated, and just so people can have something to look at and be like, somebody fucking gets it. I'm not alone. Somebody else is going through what I'm going through. They're so, these videos are so important to me. So for me to start back up again, it was just huge, because I just, for the longest time, didn't have the motivation to do it. And I knew that even if I did, all I would have to talk about was just bullshit, just awful, the worst things of life, the worst things, and so I'm glad that I'm finally in a position again where I feel well enough to make them. And I'm just here lately, I've just seen pieces of myself start coming back, and it's it really is a beautiful thing. I have so far to go, and I've so much to work on with myself, and I have so many demons left to fight. I still don't know why I use substances to cover up my feelings and hide from my emotions and hide from, certain traumas and pains that I've experienced, and to just suppress things. I still don't know why I do that. That's an answer that I'm earnestly searching for every day, but just to have the pieces that have come back, even though they may be few and very small, to have any part of myself come back after this year is remarkable, because I had thought I completely lost myself. And, for anybody out there that's going through active addiction right now knows what I'm talking about. You just feel like a shell of a human being. You don't feel like yourself, you don't enjoy things anymore. You're not as lively. You're just kind of like a corpse, just walking around, just ready for, the next one, ready for the next hit, ready for the next high. And it's the most insane experience that I've ever had. So, it started with drinking, in high school, and then it went to partying really heavy in college, and then it just got to, substances that I never said I would use in ways that I never said I would use them. And it's just crazy when you think that you know yourself, when you're 20-something, and you're I know who I am, and you feel so stable in that, and then this thing, this inanimate object just comes into your life and just fucking brings you to your knees. Like, I had just completely buckled this past year, and I can feel the fire coming back in me. I can feel my flame reigniting. I can feel the fighter coming back in me. You know, like, I've always been somebody that endures tough times and usually comes out on top. And it was like, for, you know, there were points in this year where I felt like I would die doing drugs. Like, I felt like I would die of an overdose. I felt like I would die with a needle in my arm, you know? Like, I was, that's the thing, like, you know, that's why it's important for me to document this, because people might see my outcome someday, and I don't know what that's gonna be, you know? I could be on this for the rest of my life, and I can never get out of this. I'm fighting my ass off for it to not end up that way, but it very well could. I know that I'm not exempt to any sort of, like, tragedy or disaster or, you know, unsavory circumstances. I know I'm not exempt to those. I'm not special just because I'm me. Like, it could just as easily take me out as, you know, anybody else. But, like, people may see my outcome someday, and it may turn out well, but I want them to know where I came from, and I want them to know what I had to do to get to where I hopefully will be someday. Because it's like, people see the finish line sometimes, and that's all they see, and they don't see what it took to get there. And so it's really important to me to document this, because, like, people don't document the process enough, and they don't document, like, the sad moments and the moments where they're angry and they're desperate. And, like, I need you guys to know that, like, even though I may end up okay someday, like, there were times where I didn't think I was going to be okay. There are still days where I don't think I'm going to be okay. Like, there were days where I thought I would die doing this. I thought I would be found in a gas station bathroom, and my mom would get a phone call like, you just lost your daughter. You just lost your only daughter, your youngest child. She's gone. So I need that to be known, that when you see somebody that's, like, of any sort of success or has any sort of well-being that you, like, look up to at all, there were times where that person didn't know that they were going to be that. You know, it's not like in the middle of these trials I'm like, oh, I'm definitely going to make it out. Like, no, there are times where I'm like, there's no way in fuck I'm getting out of this. Like, this will be the rest of my life. Like, when me and my mom were homeless in my car, I mean, it was fucking 6 months, dude. Like, you don't think every day I was sitting in this car? Like, I did not leave this car. Like, imagine going to the grocery store, and what do you do after that? You go home. When you live in your car, you're just in the car, in this tiny ass space for 6 months straight. Like, you don't go in somewhere and lock the car and sit down and watch TV and eat dinner. Like, you live in that bitch. So it's like, those are perfect examples. Like, so many days I was like, this is going to be the rest of my life. I had no idea how me and my mom were going to make it out, and it was literally a miracle of how we made it out of that and are now in a house and renting a house. Literally a miracle. And it wasn't me. It wasn't anything by my hand. I'm a fucking pawn. Like, that shit was something greater than me. Definitely, I don't mean to get, like, religious or anything. I try to be, like, pretty neutral about stuff like that, because I know it's, like, a hot button topic and it can upset a lot of people. But I'm just saying, I'm not going to name a deity. I'm not going to say, like, this is what it was, this is the religion it is assigned to. No, I'm just saying something bigger than Mariah was involved in me getting a home. Because for 6 months, man, 6 months, me and my mom were just roughing it out. But I couldn't imagine doing it with anybody else. If I had to do that shit by myself, I would have blown my fucking head off. Like, if it wasn't for my mom, I mean, don't get me wrong, like, we had rough days. We fought all the time. We fought like cats and dogs, because it was just, like, in this small ass space every day, and you're just trying to figure out where you're gonna eat, and you're trying to figure out, like, where can we park that's gonna be safe, that we won't be hurt and people won't be walking by looking in the windows at night. And, like, we're so blessed that, like, we never got hurt. We never, you know, nobody ever tried to break into the car or anything. Nobody ever tried to steal anything from us. Like, because I had all my belongings in my car, everything that I owned was in my car, so I would have to take it out at night so I could fold the seats down and sleep, you know. And, like, my mom would sleep up front because she wanted me to sleep in the back. And have like, you know, enough room to like stretch out. So she would sleep sitting up in the front seat, you know, like leaning on her hand every night. And it was like sometimes we'd have relatives like pay for hotel rooms for a night, and we'd be fucking hyped because it'd just be like a bed, like a bed. And so it's just this whole entire year, like as I'm sitting here recapping, it's just been insane. But I've learned so many lessons, and I've really learned a lot about myself, and like just the fact that, you know, just because you're a good person with good intentions doesn't mean that shit doesn't happen to you and bad shit doesn't happen to you. And it's like, I always thought that people got spared from that when they were like good people with good intentions, but it's like, no, like the world is extremely cold. It's extremely cold, and it will fucking chew you up and spit you out if you're not careful. But like, even though that's the truth, it's like I don't want people to think about that all the time. That's why I make these videos, because it's like I don't want people to feel like that, like they have nobody, and like it's just a cold world and they're by themselves. Like, because I know how I felt in those moments. I know how I felt when, you know, it was month 3 of living in the car and I didn't know I had 3 months left, and, you know, it was like, fuck, like I just don't want anybody to ever have to feel as low as I felt in my life before. That's basically why I do all of this shit. But, you know, and whether I make a career out of it or not, I mean, I would love to make a career out of this. I that's my biggest dream, is that like I can just do this and have a podcast with my best friend Russell and like do seminars and go on the road and talk to people about shit like this. Like, that's my dream job. That's my ultimate goal with this. But even if that never happens, like I'll do this for the rest of my life, and I can just have one person DM me every month and be like, I liked what you said, and that'll be enough for me. Like, that's enough. Because that's one less person that feels like a piece of shit, even for like 2 minutes, or however long the fucking video is, or however long that feeling lasts. But at least it's a break. So, anyway, I love you guys so much. I hope you had a wonderful day, and I will see y'all tomorrow. Okay, bye.